Hey, Don't Die Rusty Nation. This is Rick Hansen here, and I'm here with my co-host Ricky Bruley.
Hello, Rusty Nation.
We just had one of the most I can't say one of the most, but one of the best conversations, and it was with the Armless Archer, Matt Stutzman, and he had a lot more going on than just being the Armless Archer, doesn't he, Ricky?
Oh man, yeah, it was a really fun conversation. My cheeks hurt from smiling and laughing so much, and it's just you and I have known him for well over a decade, and it's just been really fun to follow along, and he's just an inspiration. The things that he can do without arms is incredible.
Yes, and you know the interesting thing about him is that he has such a determination and such a confidence in himself that he can do most anything. And if you listen to this podcast, which you better, you'll hear some funny stories. Like Ricky said, my cheeks hurt so bad. Like it's like I was eating sunflower seeds all day and my cheeks were looking like a chipmunk because we were laughing hard. The stories and in their inspiration, it was just awesome.
Yeah, he's got such an amazing spirit, and just always loved having conversations with him. The only thing I'm bummed out about is that I've missed out on so much, over the last decade. Just haven't really been. I've been following along, but just haven't been, talking with him or anything like that, just because our lives get busy, and But it's just amazing that we're able to come back to this and have these conversations with him now, and just he truly lives the don't die rusty mindset.
And you know that I mean, we talked about this a little bit in the end of the conversation with Matt, but we are so blessed to have so many people that are helping us out with so much cool content. I mean, I feel lucky and privileged, and I just want to thank everybody that's been a guest and everybody that's listening. So sit back and enjoy the next conversation. It's with the Armless Archer, Matt Stutzman. Welcome to the Don't Die Rusty podcast. I'm Rick Hansen, and we will be talking about living, not dying. We're all in this adventure together, and we will be interviewing people who inspire us to live our best lives. People with various backgrounds who will walk us down the trails they took to not die rusty. Adventure in life are many things to many people. It could be a sprint or an endurance race, but with each adventure, we become a better version of us. We hope you keep chasing those dreams, being the best you, and of course, don't die rusty. Hello, Don't Die Rusty Nation. This is your host, Rick Hansen, and Ricky Bruley is right beside, well, he's not really right beside me.
I'm over here, but I'm here.
And we are lucky enough to have Matt Stutzman, the Armless Archer, to talk to us about life tonight. We'll see where we go. We had an earlier little conversation here, and it might be like two badly fletched arrows, and we don't know what direction we're going to go here. So Matt, um, some of our audience might not know who you are. Some of them might. I would like you just to give a little biography about yourself, if you would.
First of all, thanks for having me.
Yes.
Um, I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
inviting me on because I have a lot going on that's amazing right now in my life, and I appreciate the fact that you guys are letting me kind of tell my story, kind of in a different way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that a lot. So thank you for that opportunity.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I have so much to tell you. However, what most people know me as is, and kind of like my story, in a nutshell, in 2010, I can't find a job. I can't get anybody to hire me. I actually got a guy told me to come in and that he would hire me. When I got there, he realized I had no arms. And he said, if you had prosthetics, I would hire you. And I was thinking, wait a minute, the last time I wore prosthetics, I was in first grade.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I wore them to school is because I wanted to be the only kid in school to take off his arms. And I was like, but yeah, here he is trying to tell me I can't have a job unless I have a pair of prosthetics. And I remember going home after that day, and I was sitting on the couch trying to figure out how I was going to put food on the table. And I see that on TV, there's a show on TV, a hunting show, and it came on, and this guy was out hunting with a bow. And something said, that's what you're going to do. You're going to get a bow, you're going to go in the woods, and you're going to provide food for your family, and that's how you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know it was going to take me on this wild dream as I now know it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Well,
wild. So cool.
it is so wild, what's more wild is was it 283 meters you shot? You have the longest shot, accurate shot with a bow. Was it
Yeah.
283 meters or something?
Yeah, like it was like 310 yards.
Uh,
What a lot of people don't know, because there are some other videos of people shooting further than that.
mm-hmm.
But what people don't know is to actually make it a real official record, you have to use a bow that's only 60 pounds. And they base it off of a FITA distance. So you have to shoot a FITA target. And you only get 3 attempts, period. And you have to call your shot. So you have to be like, I have to be like, hey, Rick, I'm going to shoot right now and hit it. And then I have to hit it on that shot.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So a lot of people don't know that. So you have people out there like, I'm a world record and 500 yards. And I see they're running compound bows. So I automatically already know,
Yep.
my actually furthest shot that was successful on target with a FITA bow setup is actually 501. But I have that in my back pocket in case someone breaks my current record, but no one has done it yet officially. So,
all right.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is, I wish I could even shoot a rifle that far.
me too.
Accurately.
Me too.
Yeah. Hey, Matt. So I don't know if you remember this, but the first time I met you was probably about the time you were starting this journey, and I was with Randy Herman at Pimp My Bow. Mm-hmm. And I've been following along ever since. And I remember when you took that shot, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you had to have like a custom sight made where the pin was actually like way below the trajectory of your arrow coming out of the bow, right? In order to get that distance.
Yep. Little did I know what I was signing myself up for. And it's amazing. It's amazing how ironically that bow sight technology has actually found its way into some Paralympians. They can't draw enough poundage.
Okay.
So, like for example, Eric Bennett, he actually just qualified for his 5th Paralympics. He shoots a recurve, and because he uses a mouth tab, he doesn't have a long draw, and he uses his teeth, and it's not very much poundage. So he actually has his sight below the arrow. So his arrow goes above it. But yeah, custom sight for that.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those moments where like it was kind of like people asked me like how I felt about it, and I would like to say it was like a surreal moment, but I just wanted to be the best in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, the best in the world was Vegas or like an able-bodied competition where I win. And I just use that more of a stepping stone to create pressure to help me quickly adjust the pressure so I'd shoot better, really.
Sure. That makes sense.
It was a mindset thing, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get into your mindset here in a little bit, but too also because I have a few questions about that. But would this be your 4th Olympics but they canceled 2020? Was that
actually? They just postponed that games to 2021. So I actually went over to Tokyo. I ended up 9th place there. I've had 2 kind of bad games in a row.
Yeah.
London was good to me. When I got to Rio, I actually had a knock break during my elimination rounds, which put me out, which is a really rare thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then in Tokyo, when I, like COVID is going on and all that stuff, and so when I landed and we get ready for practice, like first day of practice, I opened my bow case for the first time since I got there, and my bow was broken.
Oh.
It had been broken in the flight over, and I couldn't get parts. Because it was COVID, right? Everything was
Mm-hmm.
still, it was like kind of at the end of it, but everything was still on lockdown. And I basically went in the little tool shed out back and I grabbed parts and pieces off of this and that. And I just cobbled it together. And I actually got the bow shooting pretty good. But what affected me was that I just didn't trust my bow as much as I should have.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately it led to a ninth place finish. So I'm hoping this game treats me a little bit better.
Yeah.
And to our listeners here, Matt has made his 4th Paralympics, and he's going to Paris here this summer.
That's this many. Minus one. I can't give hand signals, but that's what I got.
Well, there you go. but I mean, I hope any of these listeners that will be listening to this will be cheering you on. I know I'll be cheering you on, and Ricky will be
Yep.
cheering you on. But
Mm-hmm.
you'll have a lot of people back at home cheering for you here too. So
Hey,
that is so cool.
One thing real quick. I'm actually debuting the new jersey.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Whoa.
This is the new.
Looks good.
Whoa, that looks really awesome.
Yeah, the new ones are exactly this. They'll just have my name on the back, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, that is very cool. So, I would love to have one of those someday myself, but I'll never have one of those. So I'll just dream about it.
Hey,
But
listen, if you just want to shoot probably 8 hours a day for the next 13 years, you could probably get there. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I'm past my days, but I know the second shirt that you might have that would be just a little under that would be a "Don't Die Rusty" shirt.
Oh, actually, that would probably be true. Listen, if I had one of those shirts, I would totally wear it to Paris.
Well, you're gonna get one, so that'd be cool.
I just don't want a long sleeve one.
Yeah. Well, to make your arms look bigger.
That's true.
So, hey, Matt, I just want to, before we go too far into it, for the few people out there who've been living under a rock that probably don't know you or know who you are, just walk us through real quick, like your shot process, right? Like as far as shooting a bow, how do you do it? How does that process work?
Yeah, so I remember when I first started to learn how to do this, I Googled how to teach an armless man how to shoot a bow.
Yeah,
and there was nothing. There was definitely nothing. And I don't know if you remember, there's an archer. His name is Darren Christianberry.
Oh yeah,
does that ring a bell?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And he's like really good at ASAs and things like that. I think he's now in charge of the pro staff for Elite. Anyway, I saw a video of him about that time, and I just pretended I was him. So by watching his videos and pretending I was him, I was able to teach myself how to shoot in my process. And that is, of course, I have to sit in a chair. Standing on one leg to shoot is not as stable as what people think. I lay the bow. It's sitting on the ground, and it leans against my left leg. And when I'm in this position, sitting in a chair, my arrows are on the ground on the right side of the bow. I then grab an arrow with my right foot and I load the bow. At that point, I grab the bow with my right foot and I gentleman's cross my legs, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
that brings the bow closer to my chest. And then I lean down and I have a release now this is probably version 7. I call it the fingerless. It's pretty cool. And it's a strap that goes around my chest and over my right shoulder, and actually connect that to the D loop on the bow. And once I'm connected, I sit up straight, and it puts the bow in front of me. And then I push my right foot, away from my chest, because that's the leg holding the bow, and that draws the bow back.
Great. Yeah.
I then proceed to bring my face down into the release, and I begin aiming. And then this release actually works on back pressure. So as I'm applying pressure and kind of pulling into the shot, it activates the trigger and makes the shot happen.
Okay.
And then I hit a 10, and then I celebrate, and then I do it again hundreds more times.
There you go.
I love hearing that. Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's fantastic.
You know, this method has took off pretty good, to a point where I should say, have taught 8 other armless people how to shoot.
That's amazing.
Almost every day we have armless people reaching out now that want to participate. In
That's
fact, at this games alone, I think there might be 5 armless people.
Wow.
All competing against people with arms, and they're all people I've showed how to and taught how to shoot. In fact, one of them is a 17-year-old girl from India who's actually the #1 ranked archer in the world right now.
I love hearing that.
So
You know,
here's how I look at it. I don't get rich off of it with money. I get rich off of it with feelings. And I remember when I first started, and the feeling that archery gave me. It gave me a feeling of confidence. It gave me a feeling of hope. Like I was doing something like everybody else, and I was hitting bullseyes. And I always say the bow doesn't care who shoots it, right? And now they all get to feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they get the same feeling, and I know that feeling and how awesome it was and how much it changed my life. And I'm to the point now where this is going to be my last games, even though my family thinks I should keep going. But like, I'm 41. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to carry on. The other armless people are going to carry on the Armless Archer legacy. And that's really what this is about, right? Yeah. That's what life is about. Life is about showing the world you can do it, even if you have no arms, and making a living, or making the world just look at things differently in a positive way. And that's why I was meant to shoot archery. That's how I look at it. And that's why these other armless archers are now continuing the tradition, really.
Yeah. See, that's, I was going to lead into what makes you don't die rusty, because we want every episode, not every episode is, we want some like sentence or something to catch somebody in every episode, because I think those are the little moments that you don't even know about, that someday somebody is gonna say, you know what, that one day I watched you or listened to you and you inspired me to become the #1 armless archer in the world. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff is what we as Don't Die Rusty are trying to get out there, as a positiveness, the chasing the dreams, that you can do it. You just got to figure out how to do it. Because I listened to a little bit. I mean, I watched some of your episodes, like in the the Sunday morning, and the other stuff that you have been on CBS Sunday Morning, and a few of the others. And anything we can do to make this world a better place is what it's all about. And for you to be doing that is awesome. And if anybody out there that is listening to this gets a chance, go to YouTube, look Matt up, and just see some of what he's done, because I want to, like I said in Don't Die Rusty, that stuff has made you who you are in the outer world. But Ricky and I have had guests on with their wives. We've had 2 times with their wives and with other people, and now we want to know who Matt Stutzman is
You're
and
Yep.
what drives Matt Stutzman. And that's where I was going into the mental thing. But I have one physical thing I really truly want to ask you about, because Ricky and I next week actually we're climbing 7 peaks for it's called in South Dakota. We're doing 7 peaks in 24 hours. It'll
you
be
guys are
about
doing that? I've
yeah,
heard of
but
that.
it'll be about 48 miles and about 8,000 vertical feet. But we're doing it for a girl it's sober cowboy, and it's about just living a good
Mm.
lifestyle. And I have 2 torn meniscus in my knees. But my question to you is, being the archer, I've never heard anybody ask you this question, but what do you do to keep your knees in shape? Because that's what I mean, you're stretching them, using them every day, but I've never heard anybody ask you about your knees. I mean, they talk about your feet, but you know, I've seen the stuff you're doing, changing tires, you're doing shaving, you're doing all kinds of stuff. I can't even get my head to my feet above this table. Probably, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, your ligaments have been different or something for how much you use them. And I'm just wondering, have you ever had knee problems?
All right. So from what from what I can recall, you're the only one that's ever asked me this, and I'm actually glad that you're asking me this. The big reason on why I need to be done with archery is because I have hip problems.
Mhm.
So I don't
Mm-hmm.
have knee problems. I got hip problems. My right hip, for probably the last 3 or 4 years, it's been a solid 4 on a scale of 1 to 10 of just dull pain all the time.
Mm.
It likes to fall asleep randomly, not like mainly if I'm standing for too long. It wants to fall asleep. And here's how this is kind of what the doctors and stuff have said. I'm 41 years old and my hip has never had a break. So the average person gets up and he walks around and he sits down and he uses his arms and he eats a bowl of cereal. Then he goes to the gym and he has leg day. Then he gets up and he goes home and that's pretty much the end of it. Matt Stutzman wakes up every morning and he showers, which means his legs are up by his head. Wash my face, I
Yeah.
shave, I sit down and I eat, which means my hips and my legs are on the table. Um, then I go to the gym and I'm trying to stay in shape, so I'm also working out. And then after that, I got to go shoot my bow because I have to stay on. And you guys know how that looks. And
Yeah.
basically, the last 13 and a half years of the amount of training and the stuff that I've done, my right hip has just never had a break. It doesn't get a break.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of wearing out a little bit. It's wearing
Okay.
out faster than most people's body parts, right? So at this point, it's not my um, like my brain and stuff like that. As far as competition wise, it's I got to think of the future, and I got to think. I'm still 41, and at 50, I still I have one son going to college. He got a scholarship, which is pretty cool, and the other one's 12, and I'm still gonna want to run around and do stuff with them. Like I got to think about that too, and I know for 100% certainty, archery is what has caused this because of the unique way I shoot.
Right.
So I'm glad you asked that. But what keeps me pushing forward um, is my kids, and this is how I provide.
Yeah.
And it's always been something that I love to do, which was taking care of my family and making sure they're okay. And when you're in that situation, you do whatever it takes to make sure your family's okay. So the sacrifice is worth it.
Mhm.
That that is very interesting and commendable. There, It's funny how I thought about the knees, but I didn't think about the hips, and
Yeah.
I never thought about that'd be actually more work on your body than your knees, and that's interesting. But is it? Will you ever have to have like a replaced hip then, or?
Yeah, eventually,
I mean, eventually,
for sure.
because that's what the doctor said to me about my knees. He said go with them as long as you can because it's the next thing is being replaced. So
Yeah, yeah. And it probably won't be for another 15 years or something like that,
yeah,
but it will have to happen. It
yeah,
just just how your body works. So I just now that you asked me that question, I guess now's the time to tell you a story that no one's going to believe, and it leads into the hip thing, and then also the importance of the mindset, right?
yeah.
And I've never told anybody this because it's fresh, and if I did tell you, you're not going to believe me. But I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you anyway. Um, First of all, my dad has always said, son, your arms are never going to grow. You can either sit on the couch and cry about it, or you can live your life and do what you want to do. So I've always had that mentality of living my life, right? Because I've had hip issues for a while now. I can't believe I'm telling you guys this story. This is crazy. I promise you, this is a real thing.
I believe
Ready? I
you.
mean, I promise. Okay.
Yep.
After World Championships in like July or whatever of last year, where I was in Czech Republic and we earned the actual slots for Team USA. So July of last year, I was having some pretty good hip issues. When I got home, I didn't touch a bow. I even skipped hunting season. I didn't grab a bow until 1 week before stage 1 of trials, which was April. So we're talking from July to
Holy
April.
moly, that is amazing.
I get the bow out. I shoot maybe an hour a day because of the hip.
Hmm.
It just shooting archery just ruins my hips and it amplifies it. In fact, if I don't shoot it, actually, I feel better.
Hmm.
So a week before, I shoot it a couple times. I go into stage 1 of trials, and after the dust clears, I'm in 7th, and I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to come back from. It's all points. It's tough.
Yep.
Only 2 in the United States in my class get to go to Paris. So
Mhm.
I'm like, coming from 7th to 2nd is pretty much impossible.
Yep.
So April 10th or whatever it was, when I got home, I didn't get my bow out of the case. I literally let it sit there. And the day before, a month later, when we went down to Florida for stage 2, I got it out, threw it in the car, went down to trials for the last 2 legs. Um, I get a couple ends of warm up, so 12 arrows. I shoot 12 arrows, and I'm all over the place. And when they say it's for score, a 60 is a perfect score, and on the very first end, I shoot a 59.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's weird. And then I roll everybody. I literally didn't lose after that. I rocked the last 2 stages of trials without a single loss. Jumped into second place, almost finished trials in first. Like I pretty much cleaned it and shot and got all the bonuses. Shot like close to the record. Like I don't know what happened, and bam, earned my spot. And I'm talking over the course of last July till now, shot my bow maybe a total of, in practice, maybe 5 hours.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Here's
Wow.
what's cool about it. Even though I wasn't shooting, every day I was shooting in my head. Every day in
Okay.
my head, I was pretending I was in Paris or I was at trials, and this is the win, and this is the group of people I'm with, and this is what a good shot feels like.
Mm.
And I basically wanted to cry because when I after that, even my last shot of knowing that this is my last trials, right? Like you know, this is it for me, and I didn't lose, and I went through all eliminations and beat everybody, and then even on my very last shot against KJ, and we had a shot. We're both like 146s out of 150s and tied, and had to shoot a 1 arrow shoot off, and I shot a 10, and he shot a 9. So my last, not only did I not lose, but my last shot ever of me basically shooting in a competition on U.S. soil was still a bullseye. And and then they came over and they're like, "You did it! You're going to the games." I was like, "There's no way." I came back from 7th in points after 300 and some arrows for score and ended up in second. And they're like, you're going. And I looked at the scores and I saw it and I was like, I don't know how that happened. I can't believe that just happened. Like, I don't understand why that happened, except I was still mentally preparing for it the entire time so I could just save my hip. Because I knew if I was going to train, if I would have trained like I normally do for these events for the last year, I wouldn't have done well in trials because I would have been worn out. My hip would have been a whole nother, think about it, 8 months more worn out, right? And I don't know. It's crazy. That's the story. It really happened. I don't
Well,
understand it.
it's we've talked about this in other episodes too, just about how powerful the mind is, right? And we like to talk about mental health often, and this is just proof in the pudding that you know mental preparation uh, overtakes physical preparation, obviously in this particular case. And so it's really cool to hear about that and just understanding that it's not all just about reps are good, but you got to be in the right mindset, right? And
Yeah.
you got to get your head in the game. And I mean, I've done that before, like when I was getting ready to go on my elk hunt in Idaho. And and so I'm not trying to compare my story to yours at all. I just want to say that I can kind of understand it to a degree, because when I would shoot in my backyard, I would literally try to envision an actual elk coming out of the woods in my
Mm-hmm.
backyard, and my heart rate would actually get going a little bit. And so, yeah, I think that's amazing, and I don't think that's crazy at all. I think that's absolutely the reason why you did as well as you did, because of that mental preparation.
Because
I 100% believe it was the mental prep. And I think another reason for it was I didn't have that pressure because
Yeah,
I've trained for a year straight for a specific event and just tanked it. And it wasn't because I was a horrible shot. I was shooting the best I've ever shot. I just put too much pressure because I'm like, I just trained for a year for this one event. I should totally rule everybody right now. And
yeah,
then I just don't. And I think mental prep and the fact that in my head I was kind of like, it is what it is. I have to say in my hip, whatever happens, happens, and I'm gonna have to be okay with it. And I think that helped also just let me shoot free. Like even in your backyard, you ever like getting ready for an elk hunt and you're just like, it's just one of those days where it's easy.
yep.
hmm
There's no pressure. And that's what happened to me on that one. And I strongly believe it's the mindset that has gotten me to where I'm at in anything and everything in life. Archery,
right.
racing, you name it. It's such a powerful tool, really.
hmm
It is because, I mean, I visualize in my hunting, like if I'm preparing to go on an elk hunt or a deer hunt or whatever, I'm visualizing my shot or visualizing the situation, and I question myself of what I'm going to do in that situation. And it's funny how many times you get into the situation that you visualized,
Yeah.
and so I truly believe in that. But in the mindset, if we're in the mindset right now, I'm going to ask you this question because everybody has a down day once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get out of your down days?
I handle it
Because
a couple different ways.
yeah,
Ironically, um, it's not necessarily a down day, but like literally the other day, I had posted something and someone private messaged me and was like, I don't know how you can call yourself an athlete. You don't look like an athlete. An athlete's supposed to have muscles and tone and like
Wow.
whatever,
um,
right? So
Mhm.
and I was just like started laughing really. I was like, I didn't even
Yeah.
respond. Actually, I did. I think I might have given him a thumbs up or something like that, like a thumbs up, like a thumbs up emoji, right? I do have down days where I'm stressed and but for me, how I handle it is The only reason why I'm stressed at the moment is because I'm allowing myself to be stressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be stressed. Take a moment to be stressed and feel it, but then move on. Figure out how to become unstressed. And I've learned over the years that that has helped me in so many ways, even just performing in a stressful situation in archery, right? It can relate to that, right? And that's just the mindset again, just being like, hey, guess what? I woke up this morning.
Yep.
This morning I get to meet with you guys.
Yep.
Like this morning I get to go to the grocery store and pick out food for like I'm still alive. I'm still here and I'm still able to show the world what I'm capable of. The stress goes away pretty quickly if you train your brain to think that way. I pretty much like to be positive all the time. I'm always the guy who's like, if you tell me I can't do it, I want to do it, right? But
Yep.
then you have the people who are. This is a good example. This is kind of a good, I don't know, kind of a good example. Um, the other day, I think I was going like 65 and a 55. I don't know, I was speeding or whatever. And then someone said, like, why are you speeding? That's the speed limit. You know you're going too fast. I was like, yeah, I know, but isn't it fun? And they're like, well, what if a cop stops you? And I was like, but I'm not getting pulled over. And the whole point, yes, I shouldn't have been speeding. But the point is that if you worry about those little things all the time, like what if, that's the point I'm trying to get to is they were very much like, well, what if a cop stops you? Instead of like that to me is kind of like a negative thing, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
constantly are thinking like that, what if this happens or what if that happens, you're never going to try anything fun in life.
Right.
No.
You're never going to be, you're not, instead of saying, what if it happens, you just, we're doing it. Check this
Mm-hmm.
out. I'm about to
Yeah.
jump out of a plane at 17,000 feet, and I'm going to land by the target, and I'm going to shoot my bow until the adrenaline wears off to train myself how to shoot with adrenaline. And that's what I've done, right? Like,
Yeah.
go for it. Like that's how
Mhm.
that's the positive, and how I feel like the positive is, how I think and how I handle stress is I try to get over it quickly and realize really why we're here, right?
I like how you kind of flipped that too when you were saying, uh, "I get to." Is
Yeah.
that's an important thing to say every day. Like everybody wants to get to that point where they can say, "I get to go to work and I get to spend time
Yeah.
with my family. I get to do this
Yep.
with my kids and all that kind of stuff." And a lot of times you hear that where it's just like, "Oh man, I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this,"
Right.
and I fall into
Well,
that all the time. But like you said,
yep.
it's just all you gotta do is flip two words, man. And I love
Yep.
how you said that.
And I like
It's
how
just
you
good.
I like how you said, like, like that. It's like I want to say, I don't want to ever say I wish I could have when I could have really done it.
Yeah.
You have that
Hmm.
choice of doing like that and living life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's
yeah,
it's amazing how those two words switch is just a way of training your brain to be positive.
Yeah.
Like it's just a simple thing sometimes. I get to talk to you today. That's cool.
Yeah.
well, that's right.
Yeah.
Not it's not a I have to, right? I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, now let's talk about something that I don't know if you're teasing and if you're going to tell us anything about this thing or not. But I saw I saw an Instagram post the other day, and I think it was standing in front of a dragster, and it said something like "things to come" or something like that, or something like
Okay.
that.
See, so you want to know who Matt is, right? Can I
Yep,
bring on
I
a guest?
wanted to,
Can I bring on a guest for 2 seconds,
whatever you want to
Absolutely.
do.
babe? Can you come here for 2 seconds? You look beautiful. Everything I do is for my family, and
Yep.
she is like my number one supporter. That is
All
Jessica.
right.
She
Hi.
does. She's the one that pushes me in archery. She is the one that is kind of like the head honcho when it comes to the drag racing because of lots of reasons. But
Mhm.
if you really want to know who I am, that's probably the person you should probably be talking
But but sh-
to.
but she should just hop on.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
we like to say she's the hands in the relationship. That's what we like to
Well, that is awesome. No, 'cause-
anyway, I wanted you to meet her.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah,
well,
thanks
good
for
to
coming
meet you.
on.
You know, it's nice to meet the woman behind the man.
Yeah, it is.
Eh.
She keeps me on the right path for sure. Even though sometimes I have crazy ideas, like what I'm about to tell you.
Well, I am excited to hear it.
Oh man.
Okay, so yes, I'm not teasing. This is Alex, is my youngest.
Hey, Alex.
We like to go fast.
Yep.
It's the same reason on why I love archery. Everybody's showing up all of a sudden. My boys are like, all like, who's Dad talking to?
Have you ever
No, I'll give it back, please. The car, in my opinion, just wants to be driven, right? And it's very similar in archery in a lot of ways. But what we have learned is that you got to chase your dreams, right? You got to chase your goals. And what's next for Matt Stutzman and Armless Archer? That's, I told you kind of what's going on with me and archery. And if you don't have anything going on next, it's not a good thing even for the mindset. So we built a really fast race car, and we've been racing since like 2013. However, we have just stepped it up to the big leagues.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We go really, really fast, and within the next year or so, we'll actually be full on circuiting with the NHRA at all the big shows with John Force and all those guys. And
Awesome.
that's the future of Matt Stutzman and how he's going to provide and live out his life as long as he can.
That's great.
How do you shift?
My car is actually a computer shifts on a computer, so I just tell it when to shift and it shifts.
All right,
So
on.
you just have the foot on the gas and foot on the steering wheel, and you just go straight down the road.
Yep.
That is amazing.
And so this is what's cool about it. Everything you see on the car, like I've done. Like I don't have like my pit crew is my family. Like we don't hire a pit. We don't have a professional team. Like it literally is me on, building the motors and building all these, the mid plates and putting the car together and going through everything every single time. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who can say I truly foot-pound torques a motor. But it wasn't that long ago. We made a 4-second pass in the 8th, which is flying, right?
Yeah.
Like that video, I think had like, I don't know. We were getting like almost 1 million views a day on that one. In fact, it actually surpassed all my archery videos. And then the things that came out of the woodwork, the tracks, the companies, and just things. And I believe it has nothing. It's like archery. We're actually pretty good at it. My last 3 events, we went to the finals. So it's not like I'm just an archer or an armless guy.
Yeah.
We actually do really well with it too. But it's just like my personality as far as like, I looked at a situation like with like with archery with cars, right? I was like, that's how I'm going to provide. That's how my next step in life is continuing to take care of my family is to get in a car that does 200 plus miles an hour. And the reason why I want to do that, first of all, I love speed, but it's just another way to show the world that even though I have no arms, you can literally do whatever you put your mind to.
Right.
People all the time are like, you have no arms. How do you do this? In fact, this sounds crazy, but the racing industry, with me driving with my feet at that level, the impact I'm having is almost greater than the archery. And this is the reason why. Everybody, for the most part, in this world has to be in a car at some point in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're going to work, or they're going to school, or they're on a bus. There are so many. Yes, we have 8 armless archers that we have helped and taught and got to the point where they're at. But there's thousands of people with physical disabilities that just want to drive. And I'm showing them that it's possible. And they're going to get the same feeling that I got when I got my driver's license and I was able to get my first job, on that sense of freedom. And that's why I'm doing it. Because the outreach is a lot more. Right now, we raise funds all the time for people with disabilities, and we help use that money to modify their cars so they can get driver's licenses. And the smiles that you see when that happens is incredible, because you're giving that person a freedom of just being themselves and kind of feeling special. They can drive, right? That's what everybody's dream for the most part is to drive a car and be self-sufficient.
And it's freedom.
And it's freedom. It's absolutely freedom. And I just want to share that with as many people as possible. And I like to do it by example. So I could be the guy who can sit here and tell you for days about this is how we should do it or whatever. But I feel like the example is the powerful part. When they actually see me doing it, that's when people are like, yeah, you know what? I can do that too. That's how I feel.
And that's how I see you giving the mindset. I mean, you go from the archery to the drag racing, and the example that you are setting says, and it's anybody that's disabled or even able that says, I can do that. If I put my mind to something I truly believe in, I can do that.
Yep.
And you can chase that dream. You got to find out how you can do it, but you got to figure this stuff out, but you can do it. And that's why I love the inspiration that you bring to people because of that. And, you know, that's why I wanted to have you on as a guest here too. You know, it's funny. I was having that conversation with Eric and said, well, I'll just give him a call, you know, and that was really cool. And it's just one of those things that, you know, I have a ball joint going out of my pickup, and I'm no mechanic, so I might drive it to Iowa and just let you watch you work on it.
Listen, I'm foots on, so I can do it.
I was just out in the garage wrenching on my lawnmower because it's not working, and I have a feeling you could probably repair it with your feet better than I could.
I can fix it. I can even make it faster. I got lots of turbos in the garage. We can slap some on there.
So
we don't call them hand tools in our garage. We call them foot tools.
So when will you really take off racing then? After the Olympics? Or are you going to race before the Olympics start? Or
this year our race schedule is pretty soft, just because I do got to focus on the games. And this year I'm also really, really busy with a bunch of other things. One of the things I can't tell you just yet, but it's really exciting. I wish I could. The other thing is a while back I came up with an idea of making videos where I pick up people in a car and drive them around with my feet while I interview them.
That'd be good.
So we actually filmed 2 episodes already. Bridgestone ended up picking it up for us, and in fact, I just launched a teaser yesterday. But from now, just keep track of social media, and you'll start seeing this on like ABC and CBS and stuff like that. But you'll start seeing these episodes kind of come out, and it's actually hilarious. I basically have to ask 5 questions, and the rest I get to be me. So
all right.
I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it's a blast. But I got to focus on Paris. I got to focus on Paris. As far as racing is concerned, we're just doing the big ones this year. In fact, I think 2 weeks after we get back from Paris, I'm racing for $1 million in St. Louis, which would be pretty cool. But then the following year, then that's when I'll probably run like a 16 race series or something like that.
Oh man, you got to be just chomping at the bit because the Paralympics isn't until like August, right? August and
I
September.
know.
Yeah.
They pretty much have me. Some of the sponsors kind of have me on lockdown at the moment because they're afraid I'm going to get hurt. I posted a video of me yesterday because we're making the car go even faster, and I had to switch out my converters. And I got transmission fluid on my leg, and I posted a picture of it. And then I got busy. We were busy filming for a commercial, and so like that night, Jessica's like, "You should probably check your Facebook." And I had like 50 personal messages from people, and they're all freaking out. Like sponsors, everybody are like, they thought it was blood. And everybody was like,
I saw that.
You
That's
messed
why I was
up your
laughing.
leg. And I was like, no. So I had to rephrase the post.
I saw that. I thought it was blood too, and I saw it.
Yeah. The amount of people that were like, hey, wait a minute, why are you like just personal messages? So they kind of like don't want me to do a lot of extracurricular stuff until after the games. However, I think between now and the games, I probably have at least 4 pretty big races, and I'm still gonna live my life though, you know. So
Yeah, man.
See, yes, because you need to live every day.
every
I get
day.
up and take pictures of sunrises every day because that's the best time of the day for me. And if you don't live the way you want to live, as long as you're not hurting anybody,
Yep.
you know what I mean. As long as you're at peace and that makes you at peace, but it's interesting because at 200 miles per hour, you're probably going faster than your arrow goes to your target. So I'm just wondering if you're going down the raceway, and you're thinking, I just passed my arrow about here.
Yeah. I've for a long time I've had this idea for a video where I race my arrow to and see who wins.
There you go.
Is that
I figured out my bow that I was shooting for. The bow that I'll take to Paris is pretty close to 200 miles per hour within about a foot of the bow. That's how fast the arrow is. But it slows down over the distance, right? So like our car right now, if everything is perfect and everything is working great, like full on, like as fast as we can possibly go, we should run like a 6.5 quarter at maybe 222 miles an hour. So you're doing 0 to 60 in about a second, and then you're hitting 220 miles an hour 5 seconds later.
that is Yeah, it's just amazing. What I'm envisioning here is when Captain Kirk says to put it in light speed. You know what I mean? I just see the stars going by me here.
Yeah,
So.
it's in the car. It's really not that bad. Everything happens so fast and it's over so quickly. You're just kind of like bummed, you know. But if you get the launch right, then everything is fine. And honestly, 200 miles an hour doesn't feel as fast as it really looks. It looks faster than it feels. Really, I know that sounds weird, but
yeah, I can believe that. I mean, sometimes I like to speed myself, and you look down and you go, I can't believe I'm going that fast. I'm not going 200 miles an hour.
I'm laughing because I have to tell you this story. We were at a race literally 2 days before stage 2 of trials to see who got to go to Paris. We were racing, and someone was like, "All right, when are you going to trials?" I said, "We leave in like 2 days or less." And they're like, "Aren't you going to be practicing?" I said, "I'd rather be racing." And then after the race, a guy's like, "Dude, you have no arms." And I was like, "Yeah, why do you think I beat you? Because if I get rid of my arms, I save weight and I go faster." and then his son was like, "Yeah, Dad, if you just get rid of your arms, you lose like 100 pounds. You go faster." I'm like, "No, chop your arms off." The racing community is pretty awesome. They're just like archers. Like usually, like I remember my first archery tournament, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And Ricky, you showed up, and Eric Nathy, and I just remember being overwhelmed with how awesome it was that they were just willing to help me out and teach me and educate me on how to do this stuff properly, because they just wanted to see me successful. And it's the
Yep.
same way in racing. Like, for the most part, in the circle that I'm at, if you got a problem, like, people will like, hey, you need a transmission, I got a spare. If you break yours, I'll give you this one. Like, it's just overwhelming. Like, if you're going rounds and have problems, like, I had to pull the blower the other day for something, and we only had 40 minutes between rounds. And me and like two other people, we pulled the blower, fixed the problem, put it back together in about 20 minutes. But there was like 30 people that showed up. They're like, "Hey, can we help? Can we help?" And I was like, "No, thanks." Because then you have too many people, right?
Yep.
And the only way you can make sure it's back together correctly is if you do it yourself. But the fact that they're all wanting to help because they wanted to see me successful, and that's one of the reasons why I like that sport as well, right? It feels very similar to the archery community, and makes me feel at home.
Yeah.
Well, like at well, we go to a lot of TACs, and it makes me happy to hear that stuff, because in archery you might get the trolls in the hunting part, that if you shoot a big animal, it's a high fence, it doesn't matter, everybody questioning and stuff. But you go to a TAC event,
Yep.
and everybody's family, if somebody needs help,
Mhm.
or whatever, and you'd walk up on a group and they don't have something and you have something in your backpack, everybody's helping. And that's what I like about the archery world mostly. I'm not saying
Yep.
that there isn't, there I'm going to say 95% of them. And then it's cool to hear like that in another different sport, the way they are, because you see right now, you being from Iowa, right now we're seeing a hatred for one of the best women's basketball players in the world, who has
Yep.
brought who has brought money to
Yep.
your sport and recognition to
Mhm.
your sport, in Caitlin Clark. And
Yep.
you want to know something funny? I'm not really a big basketball fan, but in an aspect, I never watch any of the men's, but I watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. So you're bringing me to to watch TV because of one. I mean, I like the LSU Iowa game. I mean, because of the year before, but
Yep.
you see that stuff and you see the energy she brings, and I do not know why people in her sport. There's only 400 professional women's basketball players, and you're jealous because
Right.
of one, and you had to fly commercial, and now you don't have to fly commercial, and you're getting more
Yeah.
money.
Well, Rick, I mean, for the same reason that you started watching basketball, I started watching football because I'm a Swiftie, and
Mhm.
Swift.
Of course. Of
So
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with Kelsey or the Chiefs.
No. But I mean, it's interesting, the jealousy though. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm saying I love the race industry is like accepting of this. Like you're not just trying to do this for attention. You're really trying to do it to win, because that's
Yeah.
your attitude, and that
Yeah.
in archery and in racing. So,
Right.
go big or
we
go home.
Go big or go
exactly,
home.
and
It's interesting. And I learned that it doesn't matter if it's racing or anything in life. You do always have the keyboard heroes.
yep,
Like, you always have somebody who's going to complain about something. There was the last World Championships, the girl from India who was 16 at the time. She was struggling with her equipment and didn't really understand what was going on. And it was during the Women's Day for official practice, so it wasn't even for score. And only the women are allowed on the field. But their coach gave me a pass, and I went on the field to play, and for practice only. And I actually sat on the line with the women and shot this girl's bow and found what the problem was, and we fixed it. Then she goes out there and like pretty much wins the whole entire event. And right away
Mhm.
after, people were like, "Well, but Matt shot her bow first." Like, you always had, like, it wasn't the it had nothing to do with me. All I did was find a problem, and we fixed it. And it was a simple problem. It had something to do with the peep. She's still new to this, and the peep is like so big that you can see the entire scope housing and everything else around it. So lining it up is pretty much impossible. And I noticed that while we're shooting, and we adjusted it, and we fixed it, and we matched it up, and then she rolled everybody. And then of course it wasn't about how good she shot. It was like, well, but Matt was on the field of play with the women, and it was literally just during practice. Like they didn't even shoot for score that day. It was just a practice day. But you know what I'm saying? Like there's always some sort of something.
I remember some people giving you some flack too about, you supposedly having an unfair advantage because you're using your legs. And I'm just like, come on, you gotta be kidding me, people. This is ridiculous.
When 2016, I was the para national champion. And then after my loss in Rio, I decided I was only going to shoot able-bodied stuff. I wasn't going to shoot paras anymore. And in 2017, I was the able-bodied national champion, and I actually won by like 20-some points. Like beat Rio Wild, everybody. And literally the first thing that happened, and I love Rio. We all get along great. The first, and I don't know exactly who did it, but all I know is that right after I was done, there was two people that I don't want to say that filed a complaint and protested me. And their complaint literally was that because I sat in a chair, it was windy that day. Because I sat in a chair, I shot under the wind. And I was like, yeah, think about that one. I'm only like a foot and a half shorter than when I'm in a chair shooting, my head's like basically the waist level of everybody else. So if you actually like bow to bow height wise, I'm literally like a foot and a half, maybe two at the most shorter than the standing person. And they call and I remember the judge was like, because you have to pay money to protest. And he goes, I'm just going to take this money and go to the bar with it. And they're like, we're protesting anyway. And then then they looked into it because they had to. But then he's like, thanks for the beer money. Because that's the most ridiculous thing ever. But you're right. And that was an able-bodied archer that had filed those complaints, and like you said, shooting with the legs and all that stuff. But I just let it roll off my back. I laugh about it because I know I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything illegal. So,
right.
So if I sit in a chair and just watch the weather and you're standing up and you're going to get more wind than I am. So apparently. I'm going to sit in the chair all the time because I live in windy South Dakota.
Listen, that ain't helping you. I'm just saying. No, wind is wind. I don't care where. Listen, if it was an advantage, Ricky, when you go out elk hunting or moose hunting or whatever and it's windy, are you sitting for that shot or are you still standing by a tree?
Well, I'm going to be sitting now since I have such a great advantage. I'm going to strap a chair to the back of my bag and make sure that I'm not practicing position. I know that I'm getting under it.
Oh,
right. You better practice sitting down first because I'm telling you, I've heard it was it can be a smidgen feel awkward, I guess, if you're a stander. I wouldn't know.
I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to tag you. And we're going to be at TAC, and I'm going to shoot some long shot. I'm going to be sitting down just to say the wind is in my favor.
If you hit the bullseye while sitting in a chair, maybe don't tag me because that might prove that he's right. Like you're posting like, wait a minute, maybe there is something to this, but
no,
there's no way.
No, I know. That's just hilarious. So
it is.
No, and so what? I've been going to come back to this, and I think I'm going to come back to it now. But you told a story. I can't remember where it was, but can you tell the story to our listeners that you got picked up with the phone? Because I found that just totally hilarious.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I just laughed. I keep on laughing about that already. I mean, since I heard it.
I got a prop too, so it's even better. So for everyone watching and listening, this is how this works. This is my phone. And it sits on my shoulder like this. right? And I can move it anywhere I want to, do whatever, and it doesn't fall. So I swiped up. I had the GPS on that would tell me where I was going. And I have it like this, and I'm just driving around, and I get almost to the airport, and a cop pulls me over. And I'm like, I wasn't speeding, I don't think. I really didn't know what was going on. And he comes up and he's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, no, I don't know. And he goes, I noticed that you were on your phone and driving at the same time. And then I need to inform you that in Iowa is a hands-free state. And I'm like, I know that. And then he's like, then he realized I had no arms, and he realized what he said. And then he's like, just get out of here and try not to be on your phone. I was like, I kind of wanted him to take me to court. I just wanted to go talk to the judge for a second. Like, my car's hands free, my phone's hands free. Like,
I'm hands free in every state, buddy.
I just found that humorous.
It was hilarious. I've had, and just the way he said it, he's like, Iowa's a hands free state. And I'm like, duh, I know. It's like, oh my goodness.
That's funny. Oh man, my cheeks hurt.
Yes. No, but so do you have your family? You have a son going to college. Do you have two more kids younger than him? Don't you?
Yeah. So I have 3 boys, but and Jessica has 2. So we're actually a family of 5 boys.
Oh my god,
that's a lot of boys. That's like a basketball team right there.
There you go.
So, her oldest is 21, and then Carter is 18. He's the one going to college. Then I have Cameron, who's 17, and then her boy is Kaysen, who's turns 12, right, Carter or Alex? And then Alex is 2 days younger than Kaysen and the same exact age. So they're basically twins, but they're not twins. Yeah. So I would like to say that we got a handful. She has a handful of boys running around.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, and it's so fun to talk to someone that has such a great outlook on life and then has so much is chasing their dreams, and you're seeing they're being attained. I mean, how many people and I'm going to say how many people with arms don't even try to attain their dreams, and you're attaining them. And that's, I mean, I mean, I look at myself, there's things that I could have done in life that maybe I didn't do, but I chased a lot of things that I wanted to do, and I'm living to live life. I'm not living to make that house payment or do that other stuff that takes away from your dreams, in that aspect. It's so fun to like show people through Don't Die Rusty that you can go do this stuff. You can live life, and everybody has an up and they have a down, and they get through it and they keep on moving forward.
You have to in this world, like you don't want to die rusty. Like, you have to live life to its fullest.
Mm-hmm. With that oil,
that's the dream, right? Is to live life to its fullest. This is a weird example, but I had a guy say to me once, I'm $30,000 in debt and I got to file bankruptcy. And I was like, what happened? And he goes, I tried to start a business and it failed. A lot of people think, oh man, now he's in debt 30 grand and he doesn't have anything. But I see, at least he tried it. Right? Like, at least he took a gamble and tried to do what at least he tried it. Right? So
Yep.
And I like to tell people this all the time because I also do a lot of motivational speeches. So in my presentations and stuff like that, what I like to tell people is that when I was younger, before archery and all that stuff, I wanted to be a Michael Jordan or a Jeff Gordon, right? Like a professional race car driver. Or the reality is that I'm a Matt Stutzman. However, I'm still living what I call my Michael Jordan moment. So even if you fail at, like, that's your dream, you want to do it, and you failed at it, look at it from a different perspective and try again. Eventually, if you keep doing that, it's going to click, it's going to work, and you're going to get to that dream. It might not be the route you think it is. So I'm not a Michael Jordan. I'm a Matt Stutzman. But guess what? The reason why I wanted to be Michael Jordan, he was into sports, and he loves competing, and I love to compete. And he took care of his family. That was like what impressed me. Like, someone of that caliber, they had money to take care of their family. And I don't have as much money as he does at all, but I'm competing for a living. That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
And I'm providing for my family. So in a sense, I still got to the same dream that I've always wanted. It just wasn't through, let's say, basketball or whatever. So keep looking at it from different angles. Keep figuring out. If you fail at one, no joke, there was a time in my life I wanted to be a professional bull rider. And this tells you how my mindset was. And I if we have time, I'll tell you the story. I'll make it quick. Okay.
We're good.
I wanted to be a professional bull rider. And I remember the day, I was like 11. I remember that day very clearly. And I woke up on a Saturday and I put on jeans and a long sleeve flannel shirt and a cowboy hat. And I told my younger brother, John, I said, come with me. We're going to bull ride today. It's going to be amazing. So we go out to the pasture and we catch the biggest bull we had. His name was Billy. He was like 800 pounds, which isn't really that big, but to me at 11, that was huge.
Yeah.
I put a 5-gallon bucket of feed by the fence. And while he's eating, I climb up the fence and I get on his back. And he doesn't move. He just, and I'm like, okay. So I was like, I got to make him go bucking and somehow, right? So I was getting ready to tell my brother to like remove the feed. And then my brother was like, wait a minute, how are you going to hold on? And this tells you something. I was so convinced that I was going to be the best bull rider in the world. And I was so determined to figure it out. I hadn't even thought about it yet. I was just on the back of this thing already. I remember that you tie a rope around their belly. So I was like, John, grab the rope.
Yeah.
There was a rope there. We tied the rope around his belly, and now I'm looking at the rope, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to hold on to the rope. And then my brother was like, hey, Matt, I have an idea. Let's tie your sleeve to the rope. And in my head, I was like, that is the answer. And I told my brother, I said, John, make sure you double knot it so I don't fall off. Because I was about to show the world that I was going to be the best bull rider in the world, and I was going to make it happen. So now that I'm tied to this thing, I'm getting ready. Like, I'm all excited. I slide down, I lean back, and I put my arm over my head because you're supposed to have one arm in the air, supposedly.
Yep.
And I'm like, here we go. And then I see my dad running out of the house. And in my entire life, I've never seen my dad run. But here he is running towards me. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute. He's always told me to live my dreams. Maybe this is one of those moments where he's probably like, what are you doing? Like, you don't tie yourself to a bull. Like, that's crazy. There was a split second where I second guessed it. And I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this. And I sat up. In the same time that I sat up, my brother thought it would be hilarious to grab the pig shocker that was sitting on the fence. And then he shocked Billy in the butt. Like this. We went flying. Billy took off. We went flying out of the chutes like 100 miles an hour. I passed my dad, and it was like slow motion. He's like, whoa. And I was like, oh. we are flying across this field now. I don't know how long I made it. I just remember waking up on the ground and my brother's laughing. I don't know where I'm at. I'm kind of groggy. My back itches, and I look down and realize I'm not wearing a shirt. And actually, what saved me was that I was wearing a button-up shirt. So when I went flying, all the buttons broke, and that way I wasn't just drug around by because the shirt was still attached to Billy. So after this happened, this is what's cool. This is the point of the story. After all that happened, because that happened probably around noon or so, we went the whole day and nobody said nothing to me. At supper time, we eat, and after we're done, I pick up my plate, I take it into the kitchen, and my mom and dad are in the kitchen, and I say to them, I said, Dad, I don't think bull riding's for me. And he goes, you think? And in the same breath, I say, but I've decided that I'm going to be a professional basketball player. So it's cool because the next day my dad got me a basketball hoop and basketball and said, son, start training. And the whole point of the story is this, is that I believe without a doubt that I was going to be a bull rider. That was my passion. I loved it. I was going to do it. And the second I realized it wasn't my desire to be a bull rider was there, but the reality was I wasn't going to be able to be one just because of my limitations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my brain within a couple hours had already processed the next step in my life on how to become who I wanted to be later on. And within a couple hours later, I was already telling my dad my next game plan. And that was, I'm going to be a professional basketball player. Now, obviously, I never became that either. But that's the mindset you have to have in life. When something knocks you down, you have to get up and you got to dust yourself off and you got to figure out the next step and move on quickly. You can't sit there and dwell on it. You got to keep trying. You got to keep going and you got to keep figuring it out. That's the story to get to my point. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, and that's and you think about it, you get to be a professional athlete in 2 levels right now.
Yep.
Very
That's true.
few, there are people out there in the world that are able-bodied that it can't even be one.
Yep.
And the limit, and that is just amazing. And I love to get bucked off and find something to do that's better for you. I mean, I've had lots of dreams about a lot of other stuff, and and it's good. In the here's I'm going to tell you a story here about us here, because I had this dream of the Don't Die Rusty becoming something, and I kept on trying to figure this out, and then Ricky comes in and he starts helping me in the because I called him up and I would ask him for advice, and then he said, well, what do you want to do? And what do you want, I'll help you, but what do you want to do? And then we became partners here in Don't Die Rusty, and this is helping me fulfill my dream of, because I wanted to get this message out, because I think I found my purpose of talking to people. And the luckiest part about Ricky and I being able to do this Don't Die Rusty stuff is the people we get to talk to. Ricky and I have good friends in all different areas of the world, and we have so many people that tell us stories about themselves. And if that we've been, how many people get to talk to the people we've already talked to, and we're only on number 14, 15, and we're getting to talk to you. You know what I mean? And we I feel lucky in that aspect. And you know what? And that's kind of like your dad getting you the basketball hoop and the basketball, because like I'm talking to Eric and he gets me in touch with you, or I talk to somebody else and they get me in touch with somebody else, and we get those lucky things. And when you have people believing in you, that helps you achieve your dream as best you can anyway. As long as you still have that faith in yourself, you're going to keep on trying because there's people that believe in you. And for Ricky to
Absolutely.
believe in me to come over here, and now we're here talking to you.
It all starts that way. You have a dream and you got to chase it. And I think that's awesome what you guys are doing. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be on the podcast with you, because what you're telling and your purpose, like, I feel like kind of fits to what I'm trying to get across as well. And I feel like that's a good match for the both of us, really.
Yeah,
Well, I do too. And
we're extremely blessed to have the people surrounding us and the people who've been a part of this and the people who have led us to other people. And it's just amazing. I love it.
because
It's awesome.
and we try to be genuine, I mean, this is who you get when you're with us. We are trying to be. I might say, well, and Ricky knows, and we were just talking about that earlier today. I said, I'm lucky I have the wife I have because I say a lot of dumbass things, and she hasn't left me yet. But I mean, I feel very, very lucky in this aspect, and I want to thank you for talking to us. But I'll let you get going here. But we ask one last question, and I think might know what that's going to be. What's a good life to Matt?
Oh man, that's a good one. I just wanted to be kind of like my dad. My dad was the guy who took care of 8 of us. We had 8. I have 8 brothers and sisters, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad always figured out how to provide, and that's pretty tough to do. And it's kind of what I always wanted. Like, I didn't want, like, if you could give me archery without the spotlight, I would still choose archery. I don't need the spotlight. What I do this for is my family and getting that feeling of just taking care of the people in my group, my family, and understanding that I'm raising boys who are going to be good boys, and watching them succeed and watch them grow up, because that's what I always dreamt about doing and being.
Well, that's awesome, and I know. I know another thing, you won't die rusty if you keep on getting oil all over your legs and scaring people.
If I do that,
has to be like WD-40 on the knees and hip.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe I should pour a little bit of that oil on my hip.
There you go.
Yeah. So Matt's decided to come back for LA. What changed? Well, I fell in Nevada oil. Now I feel good.
There you go.
On some DDR 24.
See, that's right.
That's right.
Just keep lubricated there. Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So no, but I really, really appreciate you chatting with us, man.
It's been a blast. Thank you for just letting me have fun. I think within the first couple minutes of being on here, I realized how awesome it is, because I've been on other ones before and they're pretty serious. And this really let me just kind of relax and be me. And like, I don't know if you just bring that out of me or what, but I really do appreciate you letting me kind of just, you see this side of Matt that you don't normally see in other things that I've done. Right. So, and this is really who I am. Not that I was faking with other people, but
no,
this is, funny, and just like having these conversations about my family and what really pushes me. You don't get that a lot in other stuff. So I really
well, like I said, the arrow, the fletched arrow that's kind of a badly fletched arrow. We never know what direction we're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have a question for you though. Would you talk to us after the Olympics?
Oh yeah, of course. I'll talk to you in Paris.
Well, that would be awesome. There. No, but
Yeah.
and I just love to hear, like, I think I'd like to hear the story after Paris.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I know you're going to be busy. You know what? The biggest thing you could do is like, I mean, you're gonna send me your address here when we get done with this, and then you're gonna have a "Don't Die Rusty" shirt, and we're gonna have one in Paris, and that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I will take a picture of me where if I get one in time, which we should because it's several months out. I will wear it and take a picture of it with me in the Olympic Village.
That would be awesome. I would
That would
love
be cool.
that.
Yeah.
But
I do want to say, don't get your hopes up on me winning the gold, because here's my game plan for Paris. Since this is 90% sure, like I don't foresee myself trying out for another games. This is actually the first games that my boys are old enough and family old enough to go to.
yeah,
Okay.
So I've been to 3 others and they could never go to those. They were either too young or COVID happened. So I'm going to train for it. But whatever happens, happens. My point with this games is to spend as much time with them in Paris at these venues, letting them watch me, taking them to opening ceremonies, and just doing all these things that make memories, because those really last longer than a gold medal does. And if it just
Absolutely.
happens that I do well and I win, awesome. And if I don't do well, it doesn't matter, because I know I'm there. I'm there for the memories with my family, and that's my gold medal this time. So
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
Ricky and I talk
fantastic.
about that all the time, don't we, Ricky? We talk about you can make money, but you can't. The memories are more important. You're only going to take the memories with you when you go.
yep,
And you know what? Say you did win the gold medal, which would be awesome. But I'm saying
yep,
the gold medal could be lost, but those memories with the family in Paris at the Olympics, watching you do what you do, is the
yep.
most important thing in the world. And you can take pictures and you can do whatever you want, but that memory here in your brain is the one that's going to last the longest.
In
And
13 and a half years of competing, I don't even know. I think they maybe have gone to one competition,
Mm.
and that was Reading, like when they were like super super little. They have never seen me compete live besides that one time.
in the
So this
Olympics,
is they've never.
It's gonna be a core memory that they will never forget.
Yeah, and that's my gold medal. Can't you can take everything, you can burn my house down, you can do whatever you want to, but that will never go away.
Yeah.
and that's what we love too, because family is very important to Ricky and I,
Mm-hmm.
Yep, same
and
here.
memories. And I love the fact that like you're wanting to provide. You're setting a great example for not only your family, for the world to see, and that's what we can only hope to be in Don't Die Rusty, is setting that example that you're setting right now.
Yeah.
And I'm getting serious here, but I don't have tears yet coming down out of my eyes. So,
But
but
it's
you're awesome, and I
thank you.
truly mean that. I mean, I truly mean that. It is the most humbling experience to be able to do what we do and be able to talk to you in that aspect. But like I said, I'm Rick, and that's Ricky, and we're all about having fun. I'll tell you, when we go shoot total archery challenges, my prerequisite of anybody coming shooting with me is the number one thing is you got to have fun. Because if you
Yeah,
don't have fun, then don't come with me. Because
right.
unlike your competitiveness of where you're shooting, I have a iPhone that is right in front of your face, like I am 4 inches from your face before you're going to shoot. Or there is a lot of crap talking that goes on, or
I
and,
bet it's a
and, and,
blast.
Don't
and you
get
know
too serious up on the mountain either. Hats are gonna be flying.
exactly,
It's gonna be dancing the Cotton Eye Joe in 2 seconds flat to make sure that nobody's getting too serious.
because I'm also the DJ on the mountain too.
Yep.
I I feel like I kind of want to come shoot that one time now, just
You
to see what
Well,
should.
it's
you should
like.
come with us. You should
You
come
That
with
should.
would
us,
be
man.
pretty fun.
Yeah,
And
man.
Terry Peak's not that far away, or we can figure out something. But we should shoot sometime.
Hmm.
We
And
should definitely do that.
we'll get yeah, because it's funny that
Don't be crying and say I'm cheating though.
Well, you'll be
Don't be saying
you'll
I
be
can shoot
sit-
under the wing, though. Okay.
there you go. But that it'd be really fun for you to come and shoot with us because like I said, that's a prerequisite of if you don't have fun and make memories. But the funniest thing, unlike people going, "Oh, he hit a 10," the loudest cheers or the loudest noises when somebody misses and hits a rock or a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Everybody goes, "Oh, that's gonna hurt," But I
Listen,
always
my
say,
very first shot is going to be into a rock, just so I can get that cheer.
there you go,
I'm
because
just letting
nobody
you know
remembers.
now. I'm about to break an $80 arrow just to get that cheer.
There you go.
There you go. Because nobody remembers the good shots.
Right,
They
exactly.
remember. Do you remember when he hit that rock and that arrow
Yep.
just exploded? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, we should line that up too. You should come out and we should go shooting TAC. Or I think you would have. I think it just. I would like to do that just to see what you would think of TAC.
Yeah.
I mean, so you just get a hold of us and we'll get that lined up sometime
I
when you're
think
not
we should-
racing.
Sure. Next year, because I still like archery. So just because I'm not going to represent America anymore and try for that circuit doesn't mean I'm not going to, go to a couple Reinhardts or something like that, because I still enjoy that a lot, right? So next year, the beginning of next year, send me some information on some so I can put it in the schedule and
Let's do it.
where it's at, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Let's make it happen.
Because that would be fun because it's about we just take pictures, love the camaraderie, we give each other crap, but we help.
Smell
Like I
the
said, smell the flower. Like we were in Big Sky and we're coming down and usually it was later in July, but this year it's in June. But we were eating the wild strawberries on the way off down the mountain,
Wow.
and that kind of stuff. And it's just one of those things. It's just about enjoying life. It's about
Of course.
living the best you can and being the best you. And
Yep.
it's all about that. So you got any more, Ricky?
Well, hey Matt, I just again want to say thank you, and I feel very blessed to know you, and it's been an inspiration following you, since you got started, and also thank you for living the don't die rusty mindset, because that's why we have you here, because we know you're living it and we know you'll continue to do so. So good luck. If we don't talk to you again before, good luck out in Paris. We'll be rooting for you, and yeah, man, appreciate you.
Hey, you guys keep on doing what you're doing, because whether or not you have people knocking on your door saying you're helping them out, you really are. So keep on talking about what you're talking about. Don't die rusty. It's gonna make a difference. Just don't quit.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much. So, well, folks, I thank Matt Stutzman for being here, and we're going to cheer him on the Olympics. And as Matt's doing, you chase your dreams and don't die rusty.
We'll see ya.